Hi, I'm Catherine Davis. I'm a pediatric speech-language pathologist, and I'm going to share with you 5 indirect strategies that you as a parent or caregiver can use with either a child who's highly disfluent in their speech, that is, when they're speaking, it's just not very smooth coming out, or they are truly a child who stutters. And I'll put the link to our American Speech and Hearing Association below in the description so you can read the differences between normal, typical disfluencies that kids or we can demonstrate and a true stutter. But either way, you can use these strategies with either type of kiddo, and whether your child is highly aware that they're not producing smooth speech, that is, they're maybe a little bit self-conscious about it, or they're not aware at all, you can use these strategies because they are indirect, so you're really just going to be decreasing the pressure to communicate really quickly or really smoothly. It's okay, there's not a lot of pressure, right? And we're going to just provide good modeling as well and encourage other people in the environment to do those things. So we'll get started and we'll talk about what those 5 strategies are. The first one is to allow your child to speak their complete thoughts. So to let them get that whole thing out that they're trying to say. If they are a child that truly stutters, trust me, it can be very painful to watch them try to get through that, especially if they're getting stuck a lot, if they're showing some body tension, some facial expressions. It's hard to watch it and to let them get through it. Or if they're disfluent, it's hard because they're talking so fast and it's very bumpy, but just let them get through it. Maintain that natural eye contact so you're watching them, you're letting them know that you're listening. Be aware of your facial expressions. I know it's hard not to let your face kind of look concerned, but be sure you're smiling, showing them that you're listening and that there's no pressure to get this out super smoothly. It's okay, I'm listening to you and you have my full attention. So that's the first one, is to allow your child to speak their complete thoughts. The second one is to create silences in your interactions. So this can look like a couple of things. Whether your child says, I want to go to the park, and you pause for a second and say, sure, let's go to the park. Or the other thing that you can do in your own speech is when you're talking, place natural pauses, like when you imagine a comma or a period when you're writing, think about where those might be and insert little pauses, which does a couple of things. It helps to set a more relaxed tone to our communication environment, us talking back and forth, because I'm not responding really quickly. The child doesn't have to respond really quickly, so they have time to think about what they want to say. And if I'm naturally talking using those commas or little pauses while I'm speaking, the goal of that is to slow down my speech. That rolls right into our third strategy, which is to reduce your own rate of speech. So if by using those pauses you're not already naturally using that slower rate of speech, it's just something else to keep in mind and consider. We know that children are watching us, and that goes for our speech as well. So if we're using a really fast rate of speech, they're going to do the same. So if we use a slower rate of speech, they're likely to imitate and use that slower rate of speech too. So this does a couple of things for that child. It not only allows them to think about what they want to say and plan their vocabulary and word order and all that good stuff, but also allows them to plan their motor movements and the sounds that are about to come out of their mouth. The fourth thing you can do is to take what your child says and you say it back to them in a more fluent manner. So for example, they say, I want bubbles, and they get stuck on that B sound at the beginning of that word. You can say back, oh, you told me I want bubbles. Let's get some bubbles. So you say it back to them, and you can say it a couple different ways, which what you're doing is just modeling for them that slower rate and the smooth speech. But you're not drawing attention to the fact that they just said it pretty bumpy, right? We're just modeling it back to them and showing them what that can sound like with smooth speech. The last thing to do is to not only encourage your family members to try to use those strategies to other family members, but to also encourage them when they're conversing with each other to really try to talk in turns and listen to each other, because what this does is it shows that child that we're taking the time to listen to what each other is saying. We're not interrupting each other, and I'm not going to interrupt you either. There's, again, no pressure to communicate at a quick rate or really, really smoothly. It's okay. We're all relaxed and we're listening to each other here. So that's the last one. I'm going to put some links below to some different websites. Like I said, I'll put the link to the ASHA website, which is the American Speech and Hearing Association. I'll put that below. And if you do think that your child stutters and they don't yet receive speech therapy, reach out to your pediatrician, ENT, a doctor that they have established care with, or talk to their teacher and bring up those concerns and see what they can do at the school as well. So those are a couple of avenues. But to start, you can definitely use these strategies at home. If you have any questions, leave comments below, and good luck.